A pleasant morning, everyone. I welcome you all to the second day of our International Conference on Research Innovations and Challenges, created and powered by Center for Research and Training, National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. I would now like to welcome and introduce our distinguished conference co-convener, Professor Dr. V. Sunita. Dr. Sunita earned her PhD in Applied Geochemistry from Osmania University, Hyderabad. She possesses 15 years of experience in academics and research and has contributed significant work on quality characterization of groundwater and risk assessment using geospatial and statistical tools in southern Andhra Pradesh. She has authored 90 SCI journal articles, has participated and presented in national and international conferences and workshops. She has delivered sessions on groundwater sustainability, remote sensing, natural resource exploration, etc. She is a member of various international and national scientific bodies. For her contributions in the field of geology, she has been bestowed with Andhra Pradesh Scientist Award in 2020, Young Scientist Award from the Department of Science and Technology, New Delhi, and Senior Educator and Scholar Award from NFED in its 12th National Teachers Day Awards 2021. And also she is the recipient of the Andhra Pradesh Best Teacher Award in 2022 from the Government of Andhra Pradesh. At present, she is working as professor in the Department of Geology at Yogi Vemna University, Kadapa, Andhra Pradesh. I now invite our distinguished conference co-convener, Professor Dr. V. Sunita, to deliver the welcome note.
Thank you, ma'am, for your nice introduction. Good morning, sir. A very good morning to all. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
I hope. Yeah, thank you. On behalf of the Presidium of National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, I heartily welcome our Honorable Conference Chair and Chief Patron, Karmavir Jyoti, Professor Dr. R. Ganeshan, Founder and Chairman of NFED, Conference Director, Mrs. Ramya Kandwel, Executive Chairman and Director of NFED, Conference Convener, Dr. R. Rajeshwari, Professor, Department of EEE, Government College of Technology, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Conference co-conveners, Dr. Kiran Lata Dangwal, Associate Professor, Department of Education, University of Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Isha Jain, Professor, IILM University, Gurgaon, Haryana. And Dr. Clarcy Mostred, Program Leader of Business Management and Senior Lecturer, School of Management Studies, Northwest University, South Africa. I express my warm welcome to our honorable international keynote speakers of today, Dr. Patrick Oza Owaisi, Professor, Department of Public Administration, Faculty of Management Sciences, Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma, Nigeria, and Dr. Arabi Madbuli, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Business and Accounting, Muscat College, Sultanate of Oman. I extend my profound welcome to our today's honorable national keynote speakers, Mrs. Renisha Wenston, founder and editorial director, iManager Publications, Nagarkoil, Kanyakumari District, Tamil Nadu, and Dr. Sachi Nandan Mohanty, associate professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Vardhaman College of Engineering, Hyderabad, Telangana. I also heartily welcome all the organizing secretaries, organizing committee members, distinguished session chairs, paper presenters, and participants to this 3-day international conference on research, innovations, and challenges. I once again cordially welcome you all and wish you a great success in your academic and professional endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Sunita, for your warm welcome note. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
I now have the immense pleasure in welcoming our honorable keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Patrick Oza Oviesui, and introduced to this elite gathering. Professor Patrick is an academician, chartered manager, researcher, and community leader. He has earned his doctorate in public administration from Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma. He also holds postgraduate diploma in education, diploma in sales and management, marketing, and diploma in theology and ministry. He is a fellow of the Institute of Corporate Administration of Nigeria, fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management and Public Administration, as well as the Management Development Institute. Professor Oviesui has 107 publications to his credit in the form of books, book chapters, articles in national and international journals, conferences, workshops, and seminars. He is a member of several ad hoc accreditation panels and resource person to the National Universities Commission. He is an external examiner to various universities in Nigeria and foreign external examiner and assessor to 2 universities in India. He is chief editor, and member of editorial boards of various national and international journals, and he is also actively involved in community services and has received various honors and awards. Currently, Dr. Patrick is the professor in the Department of Public Administration as well as Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration and Academic Planning Unit, Ambrose Ali University at Poma, Nigeria. I now invite our honorable speaker, Professor Dr. Patrick, to deliver the keynote address.
Welcome, Professor. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I'd like to start by wishing every one of us a happy new year. And I want to thank the organizers for finding me worthy to be a guest speaker in this international conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my paper, yes, my paper is, the title is Innovations in Collaborative Governance, the Roles of Public Administrators. The term collaborative governance is derived from the concept synergetics, propounded by a German physicist, Hermann Haken. Synergetics states that when a system is in a chaotic state, the subcomponents or subunits that comprises the system will assume a qualitative change at a certain stage, which will transform the system from a chaotic state to a current stable state. I hope I'm communicating. Am I communicating? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We can hear you. Continue, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Collaborative governance have been viewed by Anslet and Gash as a governing framework involving one or more governmental agencies and non-state actors in a joint decision-making process that is characterized by consensus orientation, formal and deliberate construction geared towards the implementation of public policy or the management of public programs or projects. They advance several preconditions for the engagement in collaborative governance, and these include: one, the collaboration actors include non-governmental actors. In other words, those who are to collaborate in collaborative governance involves both governmental and non-governmental actors. Two, collaborative governance is initiated by the government agencies. Three, there is a direct involvement of collaborating partners in decision-making, and their roles go beyond mere consultation. Next, the collaborative governance arrangement is conducted in a formal setting. Next, the decision-making approach is collaborative. The decision-making approach in collaborative governance is based on consensus. And the end result of collaborative governance is the formulation and management of public policy. What we are trying to say is that for collaborative governance, there must be a synergy between the public and private sector. It is in this regard that Seward and Kwar argue that collaborative governance is a type of governance in which public and private sectors work collaboratively in a distinctive ways, using particular processes to establish laws and rules for the provision of public goods. So for public goods to be effective and efficient and to reach everyone in the society, there must be a collaboration between the private and public sectors. In the same vein, Connick and Jones define collaboration as including representatives of all relevant interests of public and private sectors. Also, Rayleigh describes collaborative efforts as a type of problem solving that involves the shared pursuit of government agencies and concerned citizens. Collaborative governance has also been perceived by Behram as the process of sharing of information and other productive resources by two or more organizations to collectively achieve the result which each of the organizations cannot achieve when acting alone. From this view, collaboration is being described as synergetic activity of pulling together the strength of two different entities in order to achieve an outcome that doubles the magnitude of each entity acting separately. Put differently, when there is a collaboration between the public and private sector, it is agreed and believed that the strength will be more and the degree of achievement will be more, as if only one sector is working. So we encourage people coming together to work together. It is synonymous with the popular saying that two heads are better than one. I like to put it the other way. Two good heads are better than one. Okay? Broadly observe that the complexity of social issues across the globe calls for interdependence between organizations in addressing these issues. And this has made collaborative working arrangements inevitable. So it's a condition sine qua non for the growth and development of societies where there is collaboration between the public and the private sectors. Richards, on his own part, observed that social complexity of contemporary society has triggered the relevance of central governments on the professional level and insights of private sector operators and local officials. Collaborative governance is a governing arrangement involving the engagement of non-state actors by the government with the aim of embarking on a joint public policy formulation and implementation or joint management of public programs or assets. There are many examples one can give here in my country, especially when it comes to the area of transport. You find governments establishing transport companies. In the same way, the private sector organizations are also encouraged and motivated to establish the same transport companies. So you find there is competition, there is synergy between the private sector and the government sector. And that's to the benefit of the people because prices will be cheaper. If the private sector alone is providing it, you can imagine how high the price will be. But with government intervention in the same line of business, you find the citizens benefiting more. So we encourage public-private partnership, which can be likened to collaborative governance. In a nutshell, collaborative governance entails proffering solutions to organizational problems jointly by two different agencies of both public sectors or between public sector and one or more private sectors. But the contemporary usage of collaborative governance often refers to a joint action towards solving an identified problem between a public and one or more private sectors. This is due to several unique attributes of the private sector, such as efficiency, economy, proactiveness in solving problems, accountability, innovativeness, flexibility, and so on. It's a common knowledge that the private sectors are better in managing organizations. In Nigeria, my beloved country, the public sector is really not doing so much as expected. But you find the private sector excelling in all areas of businesses. They are effective, they are efficient, they are very proactive. In fact, very accountable. At the end of every year, you see them declaring their balance sheets. Everyone who is a shareholder in the company is happy. They are innovative and very flexible in decision making as against the public sector that is more or less characterized by people who really do not have what it takes to manage such businesses. Most of these attributes are absent in typical public bureaucratic organizations. Hence, the need for collaboration between the two sectors. Specifically, I'm saying that the attributes of effectiveness, efficiency, and the like are not prevalent. They are not visible in the public sector management, but they are very, very visible. They are overt in the private sector organizations. So we are doing and encouraging public-private partnership so that the citizens can benefit more. So I'll just briefly look at the roles of public administrators. Public administrators play tremendous roles in innovative collaborative governance, such as the selection of teams of innovators, which would determine who to partner with in a collaborative governance arrangement. So it is the role of the public administrators to really find out who and who government should partner with, considering all variables. 2, clarifying the distinctive roles of the various collaborative actors, enhancing interactions and exchange between participants in the collaborative governance. These are roles of the public administrators. More, ensuring political support for the search for innovative solutions in the collaborative governance initiatives. They are also charged with the responsibility of directing the collective search for innovative solutions to identify problems, holding meetings with and coordinating various collaborative actors, creating a common platform of understanding and mutual cooperation among collaborative partners, ensuring that conflicts are collectively resolved among collaborative partners. This is very, very important because in every collectivity, in every society, even within one's biological composition, there are bound to be conflicts. What is most important is the ability to resolve that conflict. So the public administrators play that great role of ensuring that conflicts are collectively resolved immediately, so that it does not snowball into bigger problems that will now become an issue to the partnership. Creating a sense of urgency that will stimulate the initiation and sustenance of collaborative governance, and so on. So they have an unending role to play in ensuring that collaborative governance is successful. The diverse social needs of the society have made collaborative governance a prime necessity. So what I'm saying is that because of the multifarious issues of society around the world, the need for collaborative governance cannot be overemphasized. The need to promote the modernization of governing capacities of states and governing system calls into existence the need for innovative collaboration and innovative collaborative governance. Collaborative governance guarantees the full representation of desires and aspirations of citizens and civil society organizations, CSO, in public policy formulation and implementation. Public service innovation is basically driven by managers and their employees. Because of time, I want to go to the concluding part of my work. Collaborative governance refers to a governing framework involving one or more governmental agencies and non-state actors in a joint decision-making process, which is characterized as consensus orientation, formal and deliberate construction geared towards the implementation of public policy or the management of public programs or projects. Innovation refers to a broad concept that encompasses newness of an outcome, value addition of an outcome with a positive contribution to the system, and a paradigm shift from the status quo or established order. It is in this regard that Tawfik perceives innovation as the concept and the conception and implementation of new ideas in a way that challenge existing order, traditional models, and practices that have long been established in such organizations. So what I'm simply saying is that innovation is a major requirement for modern organization. The old system of operation in an organization may not be relevant to the contemporary time, especially with technology taking place. You know, every day new technologies are coming out. What you had some 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you discover that they are no longer relevant. So we need to be innovative. And part of that innovation is collaborative governance between the public and the private sector. So finally, collaborative governance has been identified as one of the major processes that stimulates innovation in public service delivery. Several collaboration partners have been identified. These include intergovernmental collaboration, public-private collaboration, or public-private partnership, PPP. Collaboration between governmental agencies on one hand and citizens and civil society organizations on the other hand. Universities have also been identified by SINA as partner in innovative collaborative governance. Similarly, ONGO and ICRIC have included international organizations as actors of collaborative governance. What we are emphasizing here is that it is a pervasive phenomenon for the system to really move forward, for development to actually take place. The civil society, the government, private organizations, we are even saying that international organizations like the World Bank and others are also supposed to be part of the collaborative governance in order for development to take place in every society, especially the prismatic society like us, Nigeria. We are a developing society and we need a lot of collaboration, both with private sector in the organization, in the country, and we also need foreign direct investment into the country for the system to grow. Thank you very much. I stop there. I appreciate my recognition to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Patrick, for a very informative speech on collaborative governance. Thank you so much. And before proceeding, I will just take a screenshot of all the keynote speakers. So kindly switch on your videos, all the speakers. Dr. Arabi, Ms. Renisha, Dr. Sachi, I believe Sachi is not available. Conference co-convener, Dr. Sunita, yes.
Yourself also.
Yes, myself. We do not have other conveners here. Yeah. Just give me a moment. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for your address, Professor Patrick. It's a great thing. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, Dr. Arabi. Salam.
Good morning, doctor. Good morning, all. How's
Good morning,
everything?
sir. Yeah, I now express my warm welcome to our distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. Arabi Madoli. Dr. Arabi holds doctorate in economics from Helwan University, Egypt. He has more than numerous articles published in the areas of international economics, macroeconomics, finance, entrepreneurship, HR, marketing, knowledge management, and corporate governance, and a book publication in microeconomics. He served as technical committee member in many international conferences and has delivered keynote addresses. He is also a reviewer and external examiner for various PhD and PG theses. He is an editorial member and reviewer for 3 international journals. At present, Dr. Arabi serves as Associate Professor and Head at the Department of Business and Accounting at Muscat College, Sultanate of Oman. I now invite our Honorable Speaker, Dr. Arabi, to deliver the keynote address.
Good morning, all. Thank you so much for giving me this chance, and I wish you a very successful event. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible,
My
sir.
voice is clear? Great. Okay. Thank you so much for the second year continuously, Dr. Genesis, Professor Genesis, for inviting me. And actually, I am honored to be a keynote speaker in this international event, and I wish you for full success. Am I able to share my screen?
No. Yes, sir.
I think yes.
Yes, we can see.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, yes. Today, I just I don't like to share a paper. I like to share some insights which may open the area for research in the coming few years. And I welcome any of my colleagues here in the conference to join me after this, and we'll go together for collaborative research. And before the start, I just like to thank Professor Patrick for the very interesting presentation, and really I learned a lot from this presentation, and actually it opened my mind towards many areas of research, and definitely I'm glad to work with you, Professor Patrick, after this conference. We'll inshallah work together. So today I am thinking in what the coming area of research in the economy, especially you have a very important events which are passing. We just came post-COVID. At the same time, we have the Russian-Ukrainian war, and many events are there. And the Cold War coming again between Russia and between US. What's going on? So actually, I like to share that my insights about the post-COVID world. Is it deglobalization, or is it a new wave of globalization? This is my topic, which I like to share today to open the thinking together, where we are going, where the world is going, and also to think together where the areas which we can have research. Actually, I'll not go for all of us, all of you know more than me about COVID-19. It's emerged in China in 2019 and spread like wildfire to almost all the regions and country worldwide. Today's statistics saying that we have 663 million infected and 60 million cases of death of COVID-19. This is the statistics. You can see the peak here in Europe and America. Now we are not in the peak, so we can say that we are now in the post-COVID area. Okay, these are the high 3 countries affected by COVID-19 till date. So now This COVID-19, which globally spread and has a related social distance lockdown. This lockdown measures led to full paralysis for the economies. This has significantly affected our life as a whole, from economic perspective, from social perspective, from cultural perspective, from all perspectives. How is it going? Joseph Stiglitz, he considered it as the second Great Depression. All of you are aware with the Great Depression, which was between 1929 to 1932. And this Great Depression, actually, it was a very deep and led to a disaster, economic disaster, and the growth rate reduced by 15% at this time. Professor Norrell pessimistically anticipated that COVID-19 may result to a worldwide Greater Depression again, even more than the Great Depression in 1930s. The managing director of IMF, Christina Georgieva, warned that COVID-19 will bring about the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. So we are in front of a huge event. Actually, this are our policies which followed with the Great Depression 1930s, or which followed with the Great Recession in 2008, 2009, effective now? Actually, no. It's not effective now. Why? To tackle the Great Depression, US government implemented a huge public program. It was spending and spending. And this, at this time, all of us know this is the beginning of macroeconomics, when John Maynard Keynes came and said, spend, the government should spend. When you increase the expenditure, the government will create jobs, and then the income will generate, then will come out of the Great Depression. And this happened already, and it was the beginning of the macroeconomic thinking and using macroeconomic tools worldwide by John Maynard Keynes. In 2008 and 2009, several methods were followed by the government and different economies. When we have the Great Recession, it was generated by the real estate, as you all know. They start also to give incentive. The governments reduced the interest rate. Then we came with more motivation for investment. Then the investment started, and we came out of the recession. But the story here is totally different. Okay, the current economic downturn triggered by COVID-19 is much more complicated because it's clearly limits the capacity of conventional fiscal and monetary policies to improve. Why? Because it's not only a demand, it's not only a shock in demand, it's from both sides. It's from a shock of demand and also a shock from supply. Because, yeah, all of us know that there was no demand, all people were locked down out there, all people were not able to move, all people were not able to consume majority of our normal goods. On the other hand, the supply side was stopped. Nobody got to his work, nobody produced, very limited production there. So the shock came from both the two sides. In this case, the current implemented monetary and fiscal policy were not successful. What to do? This is the first question. Then we went for deglobalization. This COVID-19 led us to deglobalization. But the question is this the beginning of deglobalization? No. Actually, the world economy faced a wave of deglobalization prior to COVID-19. The wave has been fostered and accelerated by the pandemic. See, this is our global trade. The global trade collapsed during the global financial crisis 2008. You can see this. Okay, and did not return again. Since this time, the global trade has been reduced. You know, when we talk about globalization, we have three main dimensions: trade, investment, FDI, and immigration, labor movement cross borders. For the trade, no, trade reduced since the global recession, the 2008, and did not return again. This is a clear diagram show us how the global trade, the growth rate from 2008 till 2022. See, this is the growth rate. The growth rate was going down less and less year after year. And see how it came by minus in 2020. And although it increased again, it did not came back to the period to 2008. Just give me a minute. So we can say that the current economic downturn, still presentation is going on?
No, the PPT is gone, sir. You need to share it
I
again.
don't know. 1 minute, I'll share. No, it's wrong file.
It's loading, sir.
Where is it? Where is it? 1 minute. Sorry, just to share.
Okay.
Hope it's shown now.
Yes, sir.
Visible now?
It's visible.
Yeah. So the current economic downturn triggered by COVID-19 is much more complicated. And you can say that the consumer confidence has been shattered, okay, by the reluctance of people to come into social contact. This is the problem which we face. The people are afraid. Therefore, it was clearly limited to the capacity of conventional fiscal and monetary policy to improve the consumer confidence in the current situation. Okay, no amount of government spending or interest rate cuts can lift the consumer confidence. This is the problem which we face with COVID-19. COVID-19 is not just a negative demand shock, as I said, it's also a negative supply shock. So, what to do here? Is it only the trade? Yes. The trade in goods? No. What happened to the trade and services? Dramatic reduction there. Definitely, yes. How the tourism went? You know, all of us know that 70%, more than 70% of international tourist arrivals decline in 2020 compared to 2029. With some developing countries, it reached 90%. And even in 2021, still below the 2019 level. So the reduction is not only in the trade of goods, no, also in the trade and services. How about the investment? Foreign direct investment. Prior to COVID-19, again, it was starting from the international recession, global recession 2008, start to decline. I believe it's very clear here, okay? How is it during the pandemic? This is the situation during the pandemic. It reduced from 2019 by 30%, 35%, 2020, and although it increased again, it increased in some certain areas, not fully as it was earlier, okay? The trend to implement, moreover, the deglobalization is very clear in this case. In the prior to the pandemic, you'll find that there are 67 economists started to put regulation and restrict the FDI worldwide, while there are very less number of countries which start to motivate the FDI. Means even before the COVID-19, the FDI was restricted. What the reason of this? Actually, you know, when the country tried to stimulate FDI, it should put some target. It should have the FDI to serve some certain sectors to lead to economic growth. But on the other hand, the investor aiming only the profit, as we all know. So there was a conflict between the vision of the country, how the country like to work, how the country like to recruit, what the areas which they need, and where the investor like. If it's not matching, it's not beneficial for the country. That's why the countries realized this, and the period to after 2008 started to set the regulations to restrict and make the FDI in a systematic way, which lead to more benefit to the country. In this case, they start to restrict it, and this was another step into the globalization. The third factor which I like to discuss with you here is that labor, how the international labor movement was there. I think it's very clear here. Again, since 2008 recession, started increased till 2011, then declined again. And this also, many reasons are there, and it's a clear way for deglobalization. So from one side, we can see that there is a trend towards the deglobalization. Is it all? No. Actually, we can, all of us can realize that there is inequality. Always the globalization lead to inequality. And I believe that this graph can clarify to us how widening wealth inequality there in US. More globalization clearly lead to inequality, and we know this very well. Some only the investors, only the business people become very rich, while the common people become with more poor. And this also start to strengthen and foster the wave towards deglobalization. So now, can we say that we are going to the deglobalization? Actually, I cannot say it, because there is another hand. There is another face to the story. Where is this another face? Let's go to see. Now we have the IR4, and now we can say also IR5 came. While information communication ICT and the international have been around the generation, COVID-19 has seen dramatic acceleration and for ICT. Now, when we move to work from home, when we move to work remotely, we depend only on the IT. So we came with a new IR4 and IR5, and you start to utilize them. Even we all know that fintech came, and fintech came with the Industrial Revolution 4. Industrial Revolution 4 posed huge opportunities and the chance for the fintech services. So on the other hand, there is a fintech which came and rescued us during the COVID-19. So are we going to globalization? Yes, we can say we can go for a new wave of globalization. You know, according to the World Economic Forum, okay, we have they have classified the globalization into many waves. They defined the first wave of globalization from the 19th century to the outbreak of the First World War, 1914. Between the two wars, World War I and World War II, no globalization was there. However, after the globalization, they came with from 1945, the beginning of Bretton Woods system, to 1989 period marks globalization 2. From 1989 to 2008 period marks globalization 3. The post-2008 period marks globalization 4. We can say that we are now, depending on the IR4 and IR5, we are going to globalization 5, the new wave of globalization, depending on the IR4. We know that each economic wave mainly preceded by industrial revolution. So, in fact, the next wave of globalization may have already started about a decade ago. At about the same, the third wave of globalization began to beat retreat. Simply, you can say that in midset of every crisis lies great opportunity. Albert Einstein. Okay, these are my reference. Thanks so much. Finally, I just like again to thank Professor Professor Johnson and the center and all the organizers in this conference. And I hope just I shared some of my insights, and inshallah this will open the area for coming research related to the new wave of globalization or deglobalization, how the international trade is going on, how the international investment is going on, how the international, again, the Cold War, is it coming? All of these are questions all of us are asking, and all of us have the chance to research on it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Matoli. Thank you for this very exquisite presentation on globalization and deglobalization. So thank you so much. I now extend my hearty welcome to our distinguished keynote speaker, Ms. Renisha Winston. Ms. Renisha owns iManager Publications, a scientific research publication company, and from bootstrap, she has been able to take the company to one of the most respectable research publishers in India. iManager Publications has 28 academic journals in scientific, technology, education, and management areas in print and online forms. iManager Conferences is part of the company and conducts well-received conferences in various fields. She is also the director of iManager Software Solutions Private Limited, a product company, a human capital management solution. Extenta HRMS is available in the market with operations in India, Dubai, and Kenya. She also owns iManager Printing Press, a multicolor printing unit, and iManager Magazines, which publishes content for the children. She is graduated from the Tamil Nadu Agricultural University and has worked with large organizations in the field of content development before setting up her own business. She is the recipient of Chief Minister's Award from MSME Best Entrepreneur District level, honored by the Collector of the Kanyakumari District in 2017. She was nominated for the Young Creative Entrepreneur Publishing Award 2010 YCE Awards by the British Council and was adjudged one of the 6 finalists. And she has also received the Best Entrepreneur Award for the year 2013 by the Indian Overseas Bank. I now invite our distinguished speaker, Ms. Renisha Winston, to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you for the introduction and a very warm welcome to everyone. Let me thank everyone present here, and my special thanks to Professor Dr. Ganesan for this opportunity, and also for the NFED team for arranging this conference and this opportunity. So let me start with my presentation. The topic for today's keynote is Challenges in Academic Publishing. So it is very important for all researchers to understand research and the importance of research. So research empowers us with knowledge. Though scientists carry out research, the rest of the world benefits from the research findings. The purpose of research is to inform action, gather evidence for theories, and contribute to the developing knowledge in the field of study. In short, research expands the knowledge base and builds a credibility, and also it forms a base for future research. So the image which I've shown here is interpreting diagnostic test for SARS-CoV. It was actually published in JAMA, a medical journal. So this image I purposely added here to show the importance of research in our everyday day-to-day lives, because every person who went to the RT-PCR test would have seen this research diagram in their RT-PCR test results. So that shows how research touches humanity and how research adds to the healthcare and other areas. So what are the challenges in publishing research? So there are two major challenges. One is selecting the right journal for publishing and also the right publisher. So I'm coming to each and every point at the subsequent slides. So when we think about selecting the right journal for publishing, the current number of journals as per leading indexing sites, I try to take the recent data. Web of Science has around 24,766 journals. Scopus has around 34,346 journals. And direct DOAJ has around 18,650 journals. So number of journals published by leading publishers is nearly 13,500, with Springer publishing around 3,026, Elsevier publishing around 3,026, Springer more than 2,900, Taylor and Francis more than 2,700, Wiley 2,000 plus, Scialo 1,800, Sage more than 1,200. So all this put together, it is nearly 13,500 from journals only from the leading publishers alone. So it is worldwide, it is estimated that there could be more than 50,000 academic journals. That is like journals which are registered with ISSN. But there are also other journals, which are available in the public domain. So it could cross, it is afraid to have crossed more than 1 lakh journals. So out of this 1 lakh journals, around 25 to 35,000 journals are peer-reviewed journals. So when I talk about journals, it includes traditional print journals, online journals, and also open access journals. So how do you select the right journal? See, we all, when it comes to the research publishing, the first or the highest in the pyramid is SCI journals. The top tier journals are covered by Science Citation Index, Social Sciences, Arts and Humanities, and Emerging Sources Citation Index. The next comes Scopus or SCImago ranking, whereas all SCI journals could be in Scopus, but not all Scopus journals may not be in SCI. And then there is a Publish or Perish by Harsing, which is a software program that retrieves academic citations and analyzes academic citations. And then there's a Cabell's list and Ulrich Webb's directories. So Ulrich Webb directories also classifies whether a journal is a peer-reviewed journal. So then again, coming to the challenges continuing with that, open access journals has been the rising trend. So I'll give a short history of how open access journals came into the picture. Because like when the world, the publishing industry started from 1600 onwards, right from the introduction of the printing press. But as time moved, society journals were the norms, and then society journals were publishing research and it was discussed among themselves. And then when the print media became popular, the print journals became more predominant till the 1990s. And like the subscriptions were, it was dominated by few big publishers, the top 5. So, and these top 5 publishers were controlling the knowledge at that point of time. And like also the subscription costs were so high, and open access came actually as an alternative to the high cost subscription journals. So the major ones were PLOS and Biomed Central, and they started a new trend of open access journals where the author pays for the paper and the paper remains open for the rest of its period. So it is open for anyone to see these articles which have been published. So how did it come to? So open access journals, that was the history behind open access journals. And when open access journals was increasing, I think the people saw it, or like rather than I would say it, publishers saw it as a very big medium, and more number of journals started moving to the open access culture. And this led to a subset of journals called predatory journals, because I'm very particularly highlighting few points, because predatory journals were like exactly like open access journals, but they were not following any of the policies of academic publishing, or like they were not carrying proper peer review. And like it was like anything that was not publishable got published, or like very mediocre research also got published through predatory journals, and predatory journals opened a forum for mediocre journals to get published. So all open access journals are not predatory, but most predatory journals are open access. So that is one major point. And also I would like to talk about hijack journals. So what is hijack journals? So we saw in the previous slide that there are many, we go through all this SCI Scopus journals. And these hijack journals actually like replicate the exact names with minor modifications. If it is AND, they will add a symbol in from that, and like they make people believe that it is the original journal, whereas it is not the original journal. And they do some Google analytics and they come to the top. So when a researcher searches for that, there is every prospect that the researcher will go and get into the hijack journal and publish the paper there, which is of no value to them, because like finally, like these hijack journals are also getting into Scopus, Web of Science, and also even UGC CAT. So like we have to be very careful in while selecting the journals for publishing. So on the whole, like when we are publishing in predatory journals, we are contributing to a pseudoscience, which is, I mean, every researcher should be very careful about that. And like we should not contribute to pseudoscience, because like it is coming out of non-peer review culture. So is publishing fee a new normal? It is a question like I would like to throw to every participant here, because like I believe being from in the publishing industry for the past 20 years, and I believe that publishing fee is not the right way for journals to go ahead. Like because content is the king, and like the content is prepared by the researchers. It is your knowledge, it is your intellectual capacity, and like I feel that the authors or like the researchers have every right to publish it in the right forum without a publishing fee. So why do we publish papers? Because as we discussed in the first slide, we want to touch humanity in some way. We want to advance science. That is why like papers are getting published. That is why I believe that researchers here are into research. So that, because that is the only or the primary reason every researcher should have, that publishing papers should be for the advancement of research, science, and also touching humanity in some way. So there are also other concerns in academic publishing. See, in recent times, you could have come across rising cases of retractions. So retractions in the sense, not one or two papers, huge retractions happening across major publications. IEEE retracts 500 papers, Springer retracts 700 papers, LCV retracts 800 papers. Why is it happening? Because these retractions are happening because the retractions are linked to some way, like these major publishers getting tied up with institutions with conferences, and like the focus of the conference and the partnering journal might be different, but there is no proper peer review system that is followed at the editors level at the institutions. So like they just take in as many papers as they can, and there is no, if it is a journal on geosciences, you see something related to music there, which is absurd. So like that is why like the publishers came up, and like when they found out there were like absurd papers in such huge numbers in their databases, they retracted these papers in huge numbers, and it also led to few journals being removed from Scopus recently. I could cite few examples of the Journal on Positive School Psychology, the Arabian Journal of Geosciences, etc. So then what are these predatory journals doing? The predatory journals are also creating citations. So recently there was a paper published in Scientometrics which said there are 300 predatory journals in Scopus, which is actually polluting the literature, polluting the academic literature. So we need to be very careful on the kind of papers we cite, the papers we are adding to the existing research literature. So the open access culture is also leading to exorbitant article publishing charges, that is like paying for the papers ranging from 300 to 11,000 USDs. So Nature is charging 11,000 USD, which is like, it's unbelievable like how this open access forum is leading into. And there is another issue, like there is a limited readability and life cycle of an article. It is said that 90% of the articles are read only by the authors and the journal reviewers and editors, which is a very sad fact. Because is this why we are doing research? Is there some way that should be like the paper should be identified? Because like you are targeting a particular segment of people. You want your papers to be read, to be shared by people, for people to understand and take something out of it. That is the purpose of research, but that is not happening in majority of the papers. So, and then the archival freedom for authors. So I'm talking about something called green open access to authors. Green open access means the authors have, like immediately after publishing, the authors will have a copy of the PDF and they can share it in their institutional repositories with proper citations. But except for the open access journals where like you pay and it's perpetually free. Otherwise, in the subscription based journals, I'm talking about like a very highly priced subscription journals, they have an embargo till 12 months. Even the author has to pay to reach out their article, to see their article, or even to cite something out of it. And the another major factor is a journal in which you are publishing should be in continuous publishing. Otherwise, like if it is there for 10 years and then you don't see the journal, like it just becomes an archival journal, and there is no value which the researcher gains out of it. And also there is something called content recommendation systems. See, many of us know like Amazon, Flipkart or Netflix, all these have content recommendation systems. They recommend other products. The similar way in academic publishing also, we have few content recommendation systems called TrendMD, and like they recommend the article. Like let's say there's an article on educational technology. This article will be recommended to other journals which publishes such articles on educational technology. So it is a major way of, for the author to suggest their article to other researchers for citations and possibly like reading. So this improves the readability of the articles. So you need to, like as researchers, you need to be very careful about all these areas and make your own decision and intuitions on where you want to publish your papers. So how to identify good academic journals other than Web of Sciences corpus? Because I believe only the cream of researchers will be able to reach Web of Sciences corpus journals. But it is not the trend nowadays. Everybody wants to get the papers in Web of Sciences corpus. But I think that is not the right trend, because going with, as a researcher, the first thing is like you need to get your paper through a peer-reviewed journal. So you need to understand the process, what a peer-reviewed journal expects, and how you can improve your research. And from there, like you publish a couple of papers in peer-reviewed journals, you understand the process, and then you move on to Web of Sciences corpus. But today, every new researcher, even they want their first research paper to get into a Web of Sciences corpus journal, which is totally absurd. So there are a few pointers which I'm showing that to decide that whether it is a good journal. The journal follows a double-blind review. It has a prominent editorial board. It has a very low acceptance rate. I'm giving a very decent acceptance rate, 25 to 30%. Abstracted in leading databases such as EBSCOhost, Procus, Ulrich, have ISSN and EISSN. If it is an online journal, you should be able to view the current and past issue abstracts. There should be clear information on the author guidelines and the peer review process. They should have a digital object identifier for each article. They should provide green open access to authors. And the last point, I'm leaving it to the public's contemplation. It should have no publishing fee.
Wow.
Understanding the publishing process. So like, talking from the publisher side, because I've been at this part of the spectrum for the past 20 years. So as researchers, you only see the other part of the spectrum. So I would like to give few pointers on like understanding the publishing process. The process takes minimum 2 to 3 months to a maximum of 6 months in a good journal. Also, once you submit a paper to a journal, it is checked for relevancy. That is, if the paper is suitable to the scope of the journal. You cannot publish a music-related journal in a geosciences journal. That is totally absurd. You are not catering to the audience of your journal at all. So, but nowadays, like in open access journals, the trend is if you pay, you can get any article which is out of scope of that particular topic. Also, I'm seeing like in sustainability and in journal, I'm seeing papers which are totally unrelated to any other field. I don't see machine learning. How can it be related to sustainability? So there are many factors that you as researchers need to think. Next step is plagiarism check. The similarity percentage should not exceed more than 20%. And then if the paper does not clear the steps, that is a plagiarism and relevancy, in a good journal, it is rejected even before moving to the review, which we call as desk rejection. The peer review process takes the most time and might involve multiple rounds of revisions. So it might go forth multiple times because like till the paper gets into the proper format the publisher expects it to be. So what are the criteria to publish in a good journal? Points to consider before submission. You need to take into consideration the scope of the research, the relevancy to the journal, the similarity percentage, the reference citations, the structure and presentation, the research base, the research importance, research outcome, the future scope and global perspective, and the publishing ethics. So in the structure and presentation, there are a few pointers. Like there is if you see the papers which are already published in such journals, that would give you a pointer to you on what the journal exactly is publishing. So like a good academic paper has the following structure and presentation with a title, abstract, keywords, an introduction, literature review, research method, results, discussion, conclusion, reference citation, figures and tables with acknowledgement. I'm talking about a research paper format. So in the structure and presentation, again, there are a few areas. I will try to fastly run through this. So the title should be concise and descriptive. The abstract should give a short description of what the research is all about. The keywords should be helpful for indexing. Introduction should make the paper compelling to read. The literature review should talk about papers related to the work. The research method should talk about how the problem was studied. The results should give the research results. The discussion, in many Indian researchers' paper, I find that they have a problem in the discussion section. They're not able to correlate their research with the past literature. So, I mean, like that is something that as Indian academics, we need to improve upon. Interpretation of the results, conclusion, how it might change the present and future scenarios, and reference citation, you have to adhere to the journal style, figures and tables with illustration and headers and footers, acknowledgement, sources and help should be given in the paper. And the structure and presentation, I also try to give what is the exact number of pages a good research paper should have. The title should be short and informative, abstract, 1 paragraph, less than 250 words, introduction, 1.5 to 2 pages, literature review, 3 to 4 pages, methods, 2 to 3 pages, results, 5 to 6 pages, discussion. These are only pointers, so you can just go through it, but there should be minimum of 20 to 50 references. So that is the kind of, the more you read about a research topic is when you get your own idea on how your research is going to be. So there are also few other criteria. The publishing ethics, like the sentences, figures and data must be original. Data and errors must be truthfully reported. Collaborations, every author who is involved in the process should be kept informed on all important decisions. Plagiarism should be avoided at any stage of submission. Dual submission, you cannot submit to 2 journals at the same time, so that the effort of the publisher should also be respected. And withdrawal of paper after peer review is unethical too. And I have tried to give MLA, APA, Chicago, Harvard, and Vancouver type of citations. So you can just go through that. So also there are important steps to consider in publishing is after review, you have to address the revisions meticulously, address comments received from the reviewers and avoid oversights, resubmit by the deadline, understand that the revision process might have multiple rounds, provide explanations if you disagree after a peer review, improve the language and grammar, respect the reviewer's decisions, and understand the process takes time. See, I'm trying to give all these pointers because on the overall, if there are challenges in academic publishing, in finding the right journal, if a journal is following these process, you can come to a conclusion that the journal is a good journal. And this journal will give you a forum for your research to get noticed. So there are common mistakes that authors also do. That is, one is formatting issues, sending to the wrong journal or editor, grammatical and spelling errors, too few or too many references, missing references, revealing identity of authors, tables and figures being wrongly cited, wrong data in tables. Main reasons for rejections are not clear about the contribution. Why? See, when a research is getting published, it should have its focus. Why this research should be published? So you should sell that idea to the journal and the publisher. It should come through your paper. So not well positioned to the journal. The discussion is weak. Conclusion is not aligned with the introduction. Outdated references. Major methodological problems, plagiarism, and not responding to the reviewer comments. These are the reasons that why a paper might get rejected. So the future of academic publishing, as we come to the closing session, is open access for all. Are we ready as a society? So I'm just throwing this question because I just want to understand. I don't understand the point why open access came in a parallel way as a substitute for high cost subscription journals. but is it the right model? Because open access, like, do you think a researcher who is interested in nanotechnology would read something on medical research, which is not relevant to him? Or at least, like, if it is a journal on social psychology, would they be interested in reading a journal on geosciences? So why it is open? Like, open access, we are not adding nothing more to it is just like we are just making our available content there for people to see, but there is no real outcome of open access. Second, content databases. I'm actually, like, there's one more point I wanted to add here, because governments are also becoming one-sided to support open access, which is not the right way, but the future could be content databases. See, like, recently I could give an example, because WHO came with a COVID literature. So they collected papers which were related to COVID literature from all major publishers, and they gave a database. So anyone who wants to, and it was free, completely free, and anyone who wants to read COVID related literature, they can go to that particular database and get the papers. It is still live. And this is what I feel is the future for academic publishing, where we should have content databases, like something like nanotechnology, you have a separate database. If you have cancer research, you have a separate database. Climate change, you have a separate database. And so the researchers who are working on it also get a forum to see other papers, and which will all be open access. And when you have open access content databases, yes, that makes a lot of sense. So what are the suggested databases for UN SDG has 17 goals. So being a part of the UN SDGs Publishers Compact, we have suggested that we should have databases on each of these 17 sustainable goals, because this is what, like, we are adding value to humanity. If there are papers, no poverty, I think every one of us wants to see a world that is free of poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education for all, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions and partnerships for the goals. These are very important goals, and like every paper we publish, we add this related UN SDG to that particular paper. We tag that to these goals. So about iManager publications, as I come to this session, a few pointers about iManager publications. We've been in academic publishing for the past 20 years, 38 peer-reviewed journals. We have published 7,000 plus research articles so far, 10,000 plus academic subscriptions group, and 500 international subscriptions. We've been indexed in more than 20 plus academic databases. We are available in world's leading libraries. Articles have been published through recommended reading in a lot of libraries worldwide. And I welcome you all to follow us in our social media pages. Thank you all for the opportunity. And again, I thank Professor R. Ganesan and the NFED team for this wonderful opportunity. My congratulations to the past keynote speakers for the wonderful presentations, and my best wishes for the next one, which is coming. Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Renisha Winston. That was rather an extensive presentation on the publication challenges and its importance. Thank you so much. I just have one or two queries about your presentation. Shall I?
Sure, please.
Yeah, you had mentioned that a good journal doesn't charge for publication, like publication charges. So in that case, how does the journal or the publisher survive if
so
there are no
like,
charges?
Actually, we've been publishing journals for the past 20 years, okay, and we are not charging publishing fee. I think it is definitely possible. There is a way, because see, you're publishing good content. The content is the king. So if you have good content, like people will read your content from all over the world, okay, because we get library requests from all over the world, and we serve interlibrary loan requests. People will read your individual articles. I think that should be the purpose of research. Otherwise, just publishing papers is not the key.
No, that's okay. I'm asking then how do the publisher pay for the editors? Then how do they survive? That is my question.
Actually, the publishing ecosystem works in a way where mostly the peer reviewers are not paid. Even in this open access journals, they are not paid.
Okay.
I think you can check with anyone. The peer reviewers are not paid in any of the academic journals.
Okay.
So mostly like they form a basis of, they actually like, that is why like open access journals and like are coming up with, because they take the work of the academic community. They take the work of the academic community in form of reviewership, authorship, and every possible way. So in what way they are giving back? So this is my question.
Okay.
So my responsibility, I feel as a publisher, is like I'm taking your content, your intellectual material. The researchers are working, and like so I'm publishing your research. So then like I'm involving peer reviewers who are equally giving the time and effort for me. So I think like, why should I charge the publisher? I mean,
Okay,
the
but some of
authors?
the publishing
no,
agency,
no,
I
just
have a
need to- Okay, we complete it then.
yeah. The thing is, they ask for subscription charges. Then for the content is not proper, so that we need the content writing charges. That is how the publishing agency asks. So it's not like they directly ask for a publication fee, but so these are the hidden charges, right? So directly it is
Of
like
course,
a
ma'am.
publication
Of course,
charge.
there are
Am I
hidden
right?
charges.
Hidden charges
Okay.
will go on like this. Subscription also is hidden charge.
Yeah,
for
subscription charges, the
It is
content
not a
writing
open charge.
charges,
No,
everything
ma'am.
they
Actually,
ask.
there are hidden charges. Like, see, we also like there are times we have helped researchers to rewrite their papers if the concept is good. See, like if the paper is not going to contribute to the existing literature, we are not going to publish it.
Yes.
But if we feel that the paper is good, but the author's language is not good, the author has author comes from a developing country, like he doesn't have a background in English, I'm ready to support the author. I don't think I should charge the author for supporting him.
So
like
you don't charge for content writing or
no,
reviewing?
not at all, ma'am. No.
Okay.
I'm against that. I'm against that totally, because
Okay.
like I believe that it is a no, might be like
then you need to pay the content writers, am I right?
Yes.
yeah, we pay the content writers. We
then
have
how will you
team.
pay if you're not
I will
charging?
tell you, our model
That
is
my
our model
question.
is subscription model, and
Yeah,
if
we
you
have
go-
a subscription model,
and for
ma'am. We have
downloading
close to
downloading
10,000
the subscription
subscriptions.
model.
Yeah.
No, let me complete it. Director, please
Sure.
listen.
Yeah.
Subscription model, she'll make a price. People who have to download means they have to pay the price and download. But even then, that is also a hidden cost, according to me. That is what I am trying to say. Okay.
So it is also a hidden cost, but like, see, we are not forcing people to.
No, you please answer the question in the chat window, because somebody has put in the chat window. Please
No,
use the chat window.
it's can give some example of content database journals.
Content database journals, ma'am, like, see, as of now, I have only seen the World Health Organization. It is only a concept, but it will evolve in the future, because like recently UNSDG has asked suggestions to all the publishers who have signed the compact. So we have given suggestions that on this 17 databases, 17 goals, we should have individual databases. So we are trying to have a system in our journals. We are already tagging this. So I think like every publisher who is part of the UNSDG compact is supposed to do this as per the compact. So when we do this, like, see, there are so many content recommendation systems, they'll be able to pick it up. They'll be, if it is if they want to create a database on good health, people will be able to, the content recommendation systems will automatically, because like when World Health Organization did this database, they didn't ask permission from the publishers, because it was an international emergency, a pandemic that required the support of all concerned. So research was also a part of it. So I think in future it might evolve. Like presently, I could give only one example.
Director, you may conclude, because we are already running short of time, because we have to break.
Sorry for taking
you
more
have taken
time.
a very enormous time actually.
Okay.
So to contain the time presentation, we already told you that to.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead.
Our next keynote speaker is
No, he's
not available,
He's not
so
available.
we'll
You
conclude this session. So I thank all the national and international keynote speakers for their venerated presence in this international conference. So thank you for your wonderful sessions and your wonderful speech. Thank you so much.